This is one word, two syllables. Ridiculous, right?
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the Unfiltered Truth Victory Wiggle Time. You know what it is. Week 1 in the books. 17-16 over them damn Denver Donkeys. Jones, player, what's happening?
What's good, motherfuckers? We want to know, baby. How y'all doing tonight?
Man, everybody's doing great. Everybody's doing great. It ain't nothing like getting that dub. That makes everything worthwhile.
Ain't no lie.
Worthwhile. Man, we could there's so much to talk about, so many things to address. But we're gonna go position by position. But before we go down that road, I gotta give a couple shout outs, a couple game balls, if you will. First and foremost, Jakobi Meyers. Can we get a recognition for Jakobi Meyers? Nobody knew what they were getting with Jakobi Meyers except for Josh McDaniels, and when he got out there, he did his thing. He owned Mathis.
Man, hey, I'm gonna tell you this. He came into free agency as arguably one of the top wide receivers. And the fact that people let him just sit there at the top, let the Raiders get their hands on him. Now you have him with Devontae Adams, and you still have Hunter Renfrow. So when I say that the Raiders just got away with murder with that move, I'm like, you saw it paying off. You saw how big of a factor it was against that Denver defense. Look, you got a few other teams. I mean, we got the Bills coming up, and I'm gonna say this: if you have Myers ready to go, he should be able to pull off some more razzle dazzle as he did.
Absolutely, and it's not even razzle dazzle, because the truth that he ran his routes, he got his proper spacing, and the way the concepts were, they schemed him to come open a lot on the backfield and took advantage of what the defense was doing. And it's something that's going to continue to be there all season long as he's on the field. There's the way that Denver chose to play the Raiders and bracketing Devontae Adams and Hunter Renfrow when he was out there. You saw a little bit of what Austin Hooper brings to the table with strong, sure hands, and casually finds himself in the path of oncoming defenders as he's going into his route. I'm not going to get too much into detail with that, but those who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. We'll start with the highest graded unit across the board in the league, and that is the Las Vegas Raiders offensive line's pass protection. No sacks, 3 pressures, and how many tackles for losses?
I believe it was only 2 or 3.
Yeah, only 2 or 3 tackles for losses. It wasn't perfect. Ideally you'd like to see them maul Denver and run all over them, but the long and the short in the run game, which their run blocking win rate was 76%, I believe, good enough for 12th in the league.
Yeah.
Denver ran blitz a lot and kept 7-8 men in the box at all times. And moving forward, that's just going to be what it is. They're going to be running 7 to 8 men in the box to stop the run. It comes with the territory of having the defending rushing champion in your backfield.
So with situations like that, you saw they started using Zamir White in the passing game. You saw Josh Jacobs involved in the passing game. Once he swung around the outside, that can be either home run hitter or he's just going to run your ass over for a good 8 to 10 yards. And lo and behold, the shit worked.
Mm-hmm. But you know what we need to do, Phil?
What's that?
We need to get a new offensive line, bro. This one ain't no good.
What?
You don't say, right?
You lying.
I don't know how I could fix my mouth to say that. I've heard it so many times, and yet the results say something different.
Nah, bro, that's cap.
It is something different. Absolutely, Al. A big, solid. These. We'll see you again at the end of the year, and then you can get the other one of these. That we have a puncher's chance against the Bills. No, a sorry team has a puncher's chance against the Bills. So the Raiders are not a sorry team. They offensively they did not beat themselves. They limited their mistakes. They did not turn they only turned the ball over once. Yes, that was a poor decision by Jimmy in the end zone. On that play, you actually, if he had waited not even waited, because he started his reads left to right, which is why he did not see Jacoby Myers, who would have been open for his third touchdown, and as his first read on the right hand side, running a post once Josie Jewell started cheating towards the middle of the in between the hashes. So the Buffalo Bills have shown on tape that they have a problem stopping the run with a subpar quarterback under center. Now, I'm not going to say that won't be addressed, but it's on tape as being an issue and something that the Raiders can look to exploit, especially if their defensive ends are going to be running up the field screaming like hellhounds. Your thoughts, Joe? Closer to the mic, buddy.
Sorry about that.
All good.
Can you repeat the question again? Because you had went out. I'm sorry about that, you guys.
So what I said, what I was talking about the run defense deficiencies that the Buffalo Bills put on tape against the Jets with a subpar quarterback under center.
If you couldn't stop Zach Wilson, I'm not even, to be honest, I think he's worse than subpar. All right. But the fact that you couldn't stop him, that's a problem. And the fact that they were able to still run the ball down your throat with not just Breece Hall, but with Dalvin Cook as well. And then they added Michael Carter to the mix. Now imagine what the Raiders can do with their 4 running backs. They're hurting. They've lost some pieces. I'm going to also say that with them, you can notice you notice the difference of the guys that they lost in free agency, especially Tremaine Edmonds.
Yeah, a big loss. Big loss.
They had some big guys that were up front, but again, they made an impact. They had a presence, and it's showing that they're gonna keep they're gonna have their ups and downs. Now, again, we could all be looking at this and saying that, oh, maybe it's just week one. Maybe it's week one where everybody just had a shit show. But then again, we can also look at it as, bruh, this is supposed to be one of the teams that's supposed to be a Super Bowl contender, and they got beat by the New York Jets without Aaron Rodgers.
So, as you said about Aaron Rodgers, Charles, I see this comment here, and all I could say is, listen, bruh, it's gonna sound very, very what's the word I'm looking for? Honestly, it really escapes my mind. You're talking about Zach Wilson, bro. You don't have to game plan for Zach Wilson. Your game plan for Zach Wilson consists of rushing him and stopping the run. That's how you beat the Jets offensively. At this point, moving forward until they sign another quarterback who comes on and actually is able to execute. Now, we'll give credit where credit is due. That was he threw a pass in Garrett Wilson's direction, and Garrett Wilson made one hell of a play to come down with it to get him a touchdown pass. But past that, it is what it is. But we're gonna keep it rolling and move back to shift that focus back to Denver at the game against the Broncos and take a look at the wide receivers. Now, this has been a real interesting way to grade it. So we know what Jacoby Myers did. Now we can look at the production that Devontae Adams had: 6 catches, 63 yards, key first down. A lot of it was some of the shorter routes. One was a 4th and 1 conversion. What I will say is that for all of the Devontae got shut down by Patrick Surtain talk that you could possibly hear, Devontae got open deep multiple times. He did not get a look, and he did not get the ball thrown his way. And it's going to be interesting to see the evolution of the dynamic between Jimmy and Devontae. Looking at this game, and we'll save Jimmy for the quarterback spot, which should be coming up pretty soon. But Devontae needs time to do his thing. And the way that Jimmy operates is diagnosing the defense, getting the ball out. He absolutely helps his offensive line by getting the ball out fast, because he's not going unless it's wide open, he's not going to run with the football. And he may get you a first down, but he's not going to take one to the house. And if he does, that'd be fucking phenomenal. But Devontae is going to require time to get his. All of the receivers are going to require time, especially Hunter Renfrow. The China route is not a quick route. It changes directions so many times that Hunter Renfrow is probably on move 2 by the time the ball's thrown. Now, I had seen someone ask, what about the thoughts on the lack of not using Renfrow? I wasn't a fan of it, to be honest with you. I think that they could have approached this game against Denver a multitude of different ways than what they did. But it's also week one, and clearly they weren't interested in showing their entire hand right off the bat. They had six offensive possessions, which isn't very much by NFL standards, and so it was what it was. And then when Hunter was in, they were obviously double teaming him. So you take with that what you will. At some point you're going to start to see 3 and 4 wide receivers out there with Devontae, Hunter, Jacoby, possibly Tucker, Wilkerson, Carter, even a speed element, or the tight end. And some of these other guys are going to take advantage of the extra coverage being directed towards Renfrow and Adams, like Myers. that Renfro has to beat man coverage. The point is to win, not feature Renfro. Absolutely. He didn't see man coverage is the problem. So I can't knock him for something he didn't see. So what's up, Jimmy? Having a great day, of course. And yes, yeah, Q. Of course they're gonna gel. It's just gonna take time. Uh, what up, Dre? Said, no, Jimmy isn't still learning the offense. He knows the offense. That's why he was brought here. What it is, however, is that he knows where the ball is supposed to go off the rip based off the coverage reads that he makes. And holding the ball is not what this offense is designed to do. Hey, I mean, let's keep it real. For everybody who said that they hated the way that Tom Brady dink and dunked his way down the field, I mean, he wasn't throwing home run shots till he had Randy Moss like that, where it was just bombs away straight down the field. And then once Moss was gone and there was no Cooks, it was back to the dink and dunk and stretch the field with the tight end. Now, I will say that the lack of use of the tight end was something that stood out greatly to me, but it is what it is. Joan? Now, Jones is doing his thing.
Yeah, give me a second.
Okay.
Give me a second. Hold on.
China route is, it may or may not be. It's week 1. We don't know what they got in the bag. You saw him beat man on the Jimmy G run on 3rd down. I did. You're right. He did. And he needs to do it consistently. The rub is going to be that, again, Jimmy's got to feel comfortable enough to take advantage of the pass protection that he has and stare and wait for continue to allow the play to develop. If he sees a guy that's open and he delivers it, you can't knock it. He saw a guy that was open. You would want the home run shot, but that's not where he was at. It will, however, and I'll wait for Jones to speak his piece on the wide receivers before we move on to the quarterback, and I get deeper into some of the things that I saw about Jimmy, because there was some good, there was a lot of good. There was some cause for concern moving forward, but overall, what we saw was good, and definitely something to build off of. And most importantly, the team rallies behind him for all of the comments and you see in press conferences from everybody up, be it Josh Jacobs, Max Crosby, the offensive line, some random rookie that just got drafted, somebody who wasn't drafted. Everybody is behind Jimmy 100%. He's one of the guys, authentic, genuine. It's what everybody keeps saying about Jimmy. And he just, for whatever reason, people rally behind him, and you see why. He had probably the second best play of the day when he was able, with that last scramble, to basically ice the game, get that first down, and put Denver away with the best play in football. 3 needs.
Can you hear me, Robinson?
I sure can.
Okay. So overall, when I looked at the wide receivers on Sunday, this is one thing that a lot of folks that I don't think they really pay also attention to.
Mm-hmm.
Defensive coordinator that the Broncos have. What's that?
Former head coach.
Vance Joseph, right?
Yes, sir.
Vance Joseph gave Hunter Renfrow a hard time back when he was with the Cardinals. So let's think about that. Hunter Renfrow had a hard-ass time, and then, as I recall, that's where he got his damn injury.
Yes, actually. As his head knocked off his shoulders pretty much effectively ended his season.
So thinking about that, that's one. 2, with this kind of defense that you're going up against, A lot of the quick short passes, the screen game, bubble screens, like you had going to DeAndre Carter. That's what's going to destroy the Broncos piece by piece. And the other thing I looked at going back to the film earlier. Oops, sorry about that. Went back and looked at the film. Josh McDaniels had control over the clock. A lot of people looked at it like we could have scored more points, but in the long run, he had more. He had the clock management where he wanted it at. I imagine there's going to be games where they could look like that. I think we could have did more. I think that we will see more going forward. I just think maybe, you just got to play it out. You just got to play out what kind of game plan you're going up against with certain teams. So when I look at us going up against the Bills, well, I'll hold off on that. Let's get to the next, and then we'll go and dive into that.
Well, we've covered. We'll get to. We'll save Jimmy for the last one, but let's get to the running backs. We'll talk about Josh. Our first look at Josh Jacobs. Josh is looking solid. I mean, beefy as hell. When I first saw him line up, I thought that motherfucker would look like the fullback. That dude is jacked right now. Absolutely jacked. Dudes are bouncing off of him. And for as much as it looked like as he was struggling to gain yardage against the Broncos, dude was breaking 4 or 5 tackles at the line of scrimmage. I remember on his best play, I watched him shake 6 guys to get 3 yards, maybe 3 or 4 yards, maybe 5 at the most. I watched him come out of the backfield, catch a pass get hit where he should have been tackled, and dude just hit him, hit him, and whipped around him as he kept going. I'm curious to see what exactly the added bulk has done to his speed, whether it's helped it or decreased it. But we didn't really get a large opportunity to see him hit full speed for very long. I think the longest play we got was the swing pass on the sideline. But all in all, I'd like to see him be able to skate through and make some of those runs a little bit longer. But again, Denver did an excellent job in run blitzes, run fits, bringing extra men to the line and addressing the running game. They just did. You got to give them their credit for that. Denver played solid defense all game long. And while they were playing that solid defense, they were able to limit the effectiveness of Josh. That's going to be pretty much what teams are going to look to do game planning against the Raiders. They're going to limit Devontae. They're going to limit Josh. They're going to give Hunter some extra attention. So you're going to have to until your other guys step up and prove themselves and force defenses to take them more and more seriously. That's what you're pretty much going to be looking at every week. You there, Jones? Still not there yet.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Your thoughts on Jacobs?
Hold on, let me close this out. Be back. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I know a lot of people think Josh Jacobs was out of shape, but clearly he wasn't. This was just a Denver team that was ready to take him on head on. They were ready to keep him from running over them and making them an embarrassment. I mean, think about it. Josh Jacobs, every time he plays Denver, he makes them look like fools. The one thing he's been doing for like the past, the last 9 games, we done whooped their asses. We own them still, no matter what. Still own them. Ever since Josh, you know what? Yeah. Since about Jacobs has been here, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, damn, you couldn't stop him this whole time.
Hey, they had to do it at least once.
And hold up, this is something that I'm trying to tell folks all week long.
Josh said it was the atmosphere up there, so don't forget it was a mile high. Just like Nebraska ran up against Colorado and got ran off the field in the second half.
Matter of fact, I'm curious.
Yeah, 5 and 6 man lines, 8, 7, and 8 in the box at all times. That's pretty much why they went to try to combat having Thayer Munford in there to play tight end. But you saw Zeus get in there for a couple plays, do a little something. They gave him the ball. Jacob Johnson went out there and got his blocks in. I'd like to see him get a little bit more drive after initial contact, but again, it's early, and it's going to gel eventually. They're gonna get their timing down, and this thing will take off. Is it going to be as good as it was last year? Who knows? It could very well be. It looks like this line has gotten better with has improved with the addition of Greg Van Rooten over Alex Bars, and they're playing better together, continuing to grow.
Yeah, I'm looking at the temperature from what Denver was over in. Mm-hmm. It was high 70s, going in the 80s, but there was humidity with it.
Humidity and altitude.
Telling folks, and it's early in the season. We usually play Denver middle of the season towards the end of the season, or they usually come to us first, and then we finish off in the cold.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back to last time, early on, I think it was week 2. Everybody looked gassed. Everybody looked like they were ready to pass out. Y'all remember that game with Bruce Irvin? But again, a lot of, and I know that was something I noticed with a lot of the guys on defense. They looked winded last week. I saw that from Marcus Peters, saw that from Tyree Wilson. Some of these guys are not used to playing in that atmosphere. But
no,
at the end of, what do you say?
I said, no, they weren't, and it definitely makes a difference. I've seen that altitude brakeman before. You think back to what happened at Mexico City.
Oh man,
that altitude was taking dudes out the game 2-3 plays in.
Now, when you look at the defense, and I know some folks were saying, what was Marcus Peters doing? The only thing I had a little problem with, I think you agreed on it, it was just, man, if you're going to tackle.
Yes.
That was one of the things I had a problem with.
especially if you're gonna be playing that far off of somebody. You got no excuse not to tackle. You got a whole tackling drill in front of you at all times with nothing but space and opportunity. And a guy who's not at 90% of the time ain't even looking your way to see where you're at.
The other thing is, I know folks were like, why is he not playing man coverage? They used him like a safety, man.
Mm-hmm.
They went on and did some stuff where it was almost like the original, what was it? Original, what? 425? 426? Let me see.
It'd be 425.
Yeah, 425. I don't know why I said 6. I'm sorry. Well, yeah, it was like the original 425 where you'll have 3 safeties out there. You'll have 3 out there, and you have 2 corners. But
absolutely. So before we get to, let's spend a couple minutes, minute or two on these tight ends and hit the rook on Michael Mayer. The Michael Mayer's blocking ability is what I've been talking about this entire time leading up into training camp, looking at his tape, talking about him in the draft. And what I noticed in Denver is that, and what I've noticed in the preseason is that he's still getting used to the speed of the game, and a lot of opposing defenders are getting their hands on the top of his number, and that's very, very bad for him because that means that they're getting their hands inside his shoulders, right on his chest, and able to push him, move him, stop him in his tracks. I saw on the goal line there was a tight end wham, a halfback wham play out of the gun where he just completely missed his block. Jacobs cut outside of the tackle instead of following him in the hole, which probably would have got him into the end zone. And it's little things like that he will get better at. He's a rookie. He's got to get used to what it is, get a little bit of Deuce's off-season training in him to bulk up a little bit and work on some more explosion, and he should be fine. He was capable. He got in the way. He stayed in the way of the defender that he was blocking or attempting to block, and prevented them from making the play. So that's roughly about all that you could ask
for. Absolutely. My thing with Mayer, homeboy needs to get low. You understand me? He needs to get low. I keep seeing too many guys chest and grab his number, and I'm just like, what you doing, kid? They're going to use you like a rag doll. Left and right, left and right. And I think the staff noticed that. I think that's why, and this is something I said early on, and I said this training camp. No, I said is not going to be a starter. To come in something like how they would use in Darren Waller in the beginning. Like he would come in, rotate a little bit. You will see him get some first team rep, but then your main guy would be Austin Hooper. Oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
He would be the one coming in and handling your blocking, and then he can also go out for receiving. Curtis.
Yeah, I was gonna say he made the 53.
Yeah, Curtis.
Went on the practice
Curtis
squad.
voting on him. Yeah. What you talk about? What does he play? He actually got some snaps.
Killer. Whoa. Then spoke on Austin Hooper a little earlier. They didn't use him so much. I thought they could have definitely used him a lot more in the passing game to try to free up or take advantage of the amount of attention that was being given to Adams and later on some more towards Myers and then Renfro. I really think that problem if teams are going to load up in the box like that, that he very well needs to go up the seam and start making them pay. There's a number of things.
Curtis McClendon.
McClendon. Oh, yeah. Yes, whatever.
I wouldn't mind Leo Collins. Shit.
Yes, we know you like Leo Collins. All right, now that we've handled that bit of business, to the man of the hour, Jimmy
Crack Cone, and I care.
I said a lot of things about Jimmy in the offseason, and some
You
people,
talked a
some
lot
of
of
you
shit about him.
Said, but what you did say from the start to the beginning, and you're going to continue to hear me say this, is that in the red zone, Jimmy produces. First trip to the red zone, first touchdown, first possession of the game. Marched right back down there, almost did it again. Hit Jacoby Myers in the hands with the touchdown pass. It was a little low. It was definitely a little low, but it still hit him in both hands. And the rule is if it touches both hands, that's supposed to get caught, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Decision making up until the time that he got the interception was good. I would like to, however, I would like to see, I don't know particularly what the play design is or what the audibles that he called were. I would like to see him scan the field a bit more. And now that we're talking about Jimmy, one thing that I will say absolutely needs to happen is that he's going to have to throw deep. If he does nothing else besides throw the ball out of bounds, he needs to show the defense that he's willing to throw the ball deep. And if you're going to continue to stack the box and stack the line of scrimmage, he will make you pay.
His pocket presence is something I've been looking for a long time. I watched Jimmy Garoppolo feel the pressure that the time that he had one of the pressures that was coming up towards him, slid right through the crack and started running.
No, definitely. The way that the times that he chose to run were perfect. Though it's here's a comparison. Tell me what you think, Jones. Jimmy is a younger version of Rich.
Now that you say that,
almost exactly the same type of game.
You got a point.
Almost exactly the same type of game.
You got a point.
Mm-hmm. Carbon copy.
Yeah, Jimmy held on to that ball like he held on his ticket to Bunny Ranch.
He don't need tickets. Jimmy got VIP pass. They got his picture on the wall.
I'm telling you.
That run for the said that was the game. That was the game. That was the game. And neither is Jimmy. Jimmy's problem is more of his timing issues. You know, he's been taking a lot of hits, so especially in this game, he was taking them late in this game, taking shots to the back of the head after he'd already given himself up on the ground, throwing the ball, and defenders taking 3 running steps and putting a helmet in his rib cage. It was it definitely was crazy. But you know. And let's be honest, after that first hit he took, there's a lot of people in this chat, myself included, who were taking deep breaths and sucking in wind, thinking that you can't be serious on the first hit. This is how it's going to go. He got back 2 plays later.
Bro, there was some dirty hits on him. Some dirty ass hits on Jimmy Garoppolo.
Huge hit. On a lot of cats, it wasn't just Jimmy. Jimmy was the one that you saw them more prevalently, with the exception of the hit that Myers took. The Denver was headhunting straight up.
Bounty
headhunting.
Sound like Sean Payton was bounty hunt.
Mm-hmm. But it's watching Jimmy work. Never once did I feel like we were out of it. I always felt that he had a good grip on the situation at hand, that the moments weren't too big, and that he was capable of getting it done. I didn't feel like we were out of the game. Like I went back and watched the all 22. Like I said, it wasn't perfect. I talked to one of my guys, Rich, on the After Dark show, and we were talking about the opportunities that were missed, which I brought up a few times now. He's going to have to hit those. It's plain and simple. He's going to have to hit those. The offensive line offered him the protection and the time that he needed to stop and allow guys to get open. Specifically the flea flicker. Now, he threw that ball to Devontae Adams in the double coverage, but if you go back and rewatch that play, DeAndre Carter cleared wide ass open on the other side of the field, but he never got a look.
That he did. Let's see. Yeah.
But that's the offense. Let's get to the defense. Let's start in the defensive backfield. A lot of people have asked about Marcus Peters. We could talk about Marcus Epps. Marcus Epps made some plays. I would like to see him deployed in a more aggressive style of defense. I think overall, before we get into position groups, there are some basic things that I would like to see Patrick Graham do more of. Stop pinching your defensive ends. Keep them in contain. If you want to keep, I think the wide 9 is going to work nicely with Wilson and Crosby. Those guys getting a running start at your at tackles and just pushing them straight into the quarterback is probably their best means of getting sacks and rushing the passer. But on run plays, pinching every single play is making me want to pull my dreads out. It's fucking bananas watching this and expecting fucking the corners in linebacking positions to be able to hold outside contain in the run game. Eventually, that's going to bite you because your corners are not big. It's not like you got 6'2", 215 corners. They're not that big. And God bless Ja'Cory and Bennett. I watched him make tackle after tackle at the line of scrimmage, behind the line of scrimmage. I don't want that man tackling like that every time. Your linebacker should be picking up that slack. Your defensive end should be making some of them tackles. But that's one of the things. Press. If you're not going to press in man coverage and you want to run zone, fine. Run, press, and bail. put Marcus Peters on the line, have him jam a receiver, and then bail into that same zone that he's going to have. Do something to disrupt the timing of the release of these wide receivers. Otherwise, you're giving them 5 to 6 yards every time they run a route. And yes, that's the nature of cover 3 and zone, but you've seen the same outcomes every time you've watched it. They just go down the field. They can't hold coverage in zone forever. Your linebacker, your defensive ends that gave up contain, the quarterbacks gets outside of them, and now your whole defense is scrambling and you're in a bad situation. Your thoughts, Jones?
You took the words right out of my mouth. And as much as some folks may feel a certain way about this, I hope he does get himself together. The whole Chandler Jones situation did play a part into the more and more I look at it, it did play a factor into what the defensive game plan was going to be for Denver. They weren't expecting to having Jerry Tillery playing defensive end. Tillery was supposed to be playing inside, having that speed and having his strength work inside with Bob Nichols, but that wasn't the case. Then they had so they had to go on and use Jenkins and Nichols, Tillery and Crosby on the outside, and then Tillery rotate with Malcolm Kuntz, and then rotate again with Tyree Wilson. That can't work again. And you're going to need speed off the outside. That's what it has to be going forward. So meaning, if it's got to be Malcolm Kuntz starting on that outside, let it be.
Well, they
Kuntz and Crosby, switch it up. I need to have Tillery and Nichols, Young, coming from the inside. And what was it? Butler. That was working for you. It was working for them in the pre. You shouldn't get away from it.
And I'm glad that you said working in the preseason, because what I foresee happening is they signed Jordan Willis back to their practice squad, and I envision that he should be activated sometime in between tomorrow and Friday. He will be starting on Sunday.
I believe that.
He will be starting on Sunday, and to be 100% honest with you, that's the way that it probably should have been from the beginning, based off of what you saw in the preseason in terms of production and knowledge of the scheme and ability. It's the perfect combination with everything that he did. He did nothing but produce every time he was on the field. Dre brings up the interesting point of why not Nesta. They got the guys that they think they're going to see what they can get out of them before they start shuffling guys around and seeing what they got. I watched the tackles, and I'll say that the defensive scheme that they run and the way that they deploy their defensive tackles is interesting, and it differs in their approach. Sometimes they're two gapping and they're just holding at the line of scrimmage to make sure that they don't allow the quarterback to get back up the middle. Now, when they choose to penetrate, I've seen that they're able to get into the backfield. Now, knowing that, me personally, I'm more of an aggressive style of defensive connoisseur. I don't want to see guys standing at the line of scrimmage. I want to see them beating their man and getting into the backfield and making some shit happen. So if they can do more of that, I think that will also help them. But due to the fact that they were running primarily two linebackers at all times, I'm guessing that they were occupying those defenders in order to those blockers in order to take some of the pressure off of their linebackers, which worked. Your linebacker Robert Spillane had a great game. You're not going to look stupid crazy on the stat sheet, but he really showed why it is that he took the green dot from Diablo, and Diablo played phenomenal, played a great game as well.
To be honest, I think it was too much on Diablo. I'm not saying Diablo's not a smart guy, but sometimes guys can feel overwhelmed with having to handle the play calling and laying that in and then having to make the adjustments. When you look at Robert Spillane, that was something that he did in Pittsburgh. He was a main guy when you had those, like when they were running the 34 defense, he was like, look, I'll call the plays in and you know, I'll do my thing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it allowed Diablo to be free. And I think more than anything, that's probably what he needs to be, is free. He was able to recover a fumble, the Russell Wilson fumble. He got out, made key tackles in the flats. The Raiders tackling in the short yardage passing game, with the exception of the one that Robertson missed, was pretty solid. That whenever they got their hands on guys, they usually went down right away.
Yeah,
and so that is a good thing. And even in the big runs that you saw Denver have, listen, these guys get paid too. One of the holes that dude skirted through was jumping over a plugged hole because the defender was there. I saw Spillane make a play in the backfield where he ran through the center and tackled the running back. I saw him go one-on-one with that running back and get stiff-armed out of the way. So it is what it is. They played much better than what we thought they would be playing at. It wasn't perfect, but it's definitely something to be pleased with. Spillane's coverage, look, he's not a guy that you really want to have in coverage. I much prefer he blitz, but he can't blitz every play. I would, however, and you said it as well, like to see some more of Curtis Bolton. I think that Curtis Bolton could do wonders for them in coverage. And if you could find some way to get him on the field and perhaps maybe even have Spillane rush from an edge and run a stunt back into the middle or something, that would probably be some more of those creative things you could do on defense to make it work. And yes, Denver's O-line held all game. You've been a Raider fan long enough to know this is how it goes. The key thing was that in clutch situations, the Raiders got the call. It used to just be they were shit out of luck. We missed you too, Raider Jared. Bring it in. One of these.
Bring it in.
But we went through DBs to the linebackers, and I didn't get a chance to talk about the rook, Corey and Bennett. I loved what I saw from him. I watched him close on the ball, nearly pick it off. Barely missed that. But in order to have a ball hawk, you got to have a guy who's willing to take that chance, and you have to have a guy who's close enough to take that chance. And he's been talked up, and it was good to see him get out there, have none of the moments be too big, not give up any huge plays. He got stuck in some high-low situations where it was a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. But as a whole, he was solid. You definitely got a quality starter out of your fourth round pick. And he's going to continue to get better and better. And him with Hobbs is going to be magic. And so if they could get one more, that then you're on. Now you're starting to border on something special.
No, you're absolutely right on that one.
Oh man. So we got to talk about the elephant in the room, though. Your free safety is lost out there.
Whew.
Your free safety is drowning in the ocean. Your free safety is looking for an orange tube, a life preserver. Trayvon Morig is out there down to one good hand, and still looking, trying to figure out where the fuck he's supposed to be at.
What did Hobbs
it's
say?
not quite there yet, Dre. But not quite there yet. But
it's got to be the middle of the season.
Yeah, it'll be about the middle of the season before we, unless it gets hurt. But that is certainly going to be something to look at, and if he doesn't start to play better, the red zone defense in the back of the end zone. Once again, that comes down to allowing your quarterback to break contain and expecting guys to cover forever. It's just not going to happen. Yeah, 2-5 was out there making some rookie mistakes, quite frankly. And I don't really give a shit what he came from. That you're a pro, you're making money, that you got to be able to play more than quarters. Plain and simple. You have to be able to play more than quarters. You got to be able to play more than a third. You got to be able to play more than half. And you have to be able to know how to cover somebody. That's what you have to be able to do. And it's been a struggle for that man. Been a struggle. That I hope he gets it together. I hope he plays well. I hope it magically clicks for him, because we need him out there. If he was able to hold it down, there's probably a lot more alternatives that you can do with the defense without having to compensate for areas to help him. Because as your safety, that's supposed to be your last line of defense, not your first liability.
No, that's a fact.
And now, so you get first crack, Bill. Are you ready?
All right.
Tyree Wilson.
Ooh. Where do I begin? I know a lot of people want to say, oh, this man's trash. Oh, this man ain't good. Look, you had your GM and assistant GM said it's going to take some time with him. He still has to learn a few things. You can see that a lot. Again, like we said, that whole Chandler Jones shit, it affected his timeline, because he should be sitting back learning. Okay? And a lot of people fail to realize this man really did training camp. Yeah, he looked gassed. And you trying to get adjusted to that altitude. There's so many things that add down the list of what happened with him. Now, am I trying to make excuses? No. I'm just saying that he got some things. it's going to take time. This is not going to be like some, oh shit, yeah, boom. No. Mm-mm. Give it by, I say, shit. You might see something out of him maybe this week. It might be a nice little flash out of him. But really, I agree, boy. By week 5, you'll start seeing something out of him. You just got to be patient. When you look at Tyree Wilson, he's more that you're looking for the long term. Yeah, they gave him 9 years. Oh God. Let's not PTSD.
We're not going there no more.
We're not going there. Stop it.
And no,
this is a safe place.
It's
this
not
is a safe space, okay?
Said this current group gave him one and ran it. So we got to stop that. We got to stop that. But back to Tyree Wilson. I think the best I've kicked this over and I've talked to a bunch of different people about this, about the get-offs and what was happening. I watched it over again and I tried to determine if he was it was obvious to me he wasn't watching football. So we can rule that out right off the bat. There's no way he was watching football.
Mm-mm.
And even still, watching how slow he was to get out of his stance, because the next thing that I thought was that, okay, he's waiting for the offensive lineman to move so that he doesn't jump off sides, or if he does, he can point the finger and say he was drawn. Why he did that, I don't know. It's been something that a bunch of people who have higher pedigrees at film breakdown than I do have also struggled with coming up with a definitive answer for, and why it is that he's still in his stance at the line of scrimmage when everybody else around him at offense and defense is in damn near in step number 2. Not just one step, practically 2. But when in the wide 9, he shows that he knows exactly what to do. He goes back to watching the ball and crashing. So it's a weird thing. I don't know if it's what he's being coached to do, or actually now that I think about it, John, and I didn't even talk to you about this because it's only when he's trying to hold outside contain. If you look at it when he goes crashing and pinching, he's not that slow off the line.
Nah. But guess who was also doing that last year?
Chandler. So there's certainly some interesting defensive play calls and philosophies that are at play here. I would like to not see some of these things and see some other things changed up, but I'm not the defensive coordinator. That you'd see a lot more blitzing and a lot more press if I was, and they'd be lining up and they'd just be going for it. And I think that's probably been one of the single greater problems of the Raiders defense for the last 10 years, I'll say, is this soft zone. So your guys are getting roasted and absolutely barbecued in a soft zone. Fuck it, let them free. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're already getting beaten zone. It's just taking longer to beat you. Yeah.
I don't care.
So I've watched it enough to reach that conclusion myself, Dubsy, to be honest with you, because I watch Max do it more than anybody, and it's like, to me, okay, if that be his one flaw in his game. If you show him an inside lane, he's taking it 100% of the time. I've watched Patrick Mahomes beat him with that time and time again. You show him something to the inside, he'll take it. They'll step right around him, and then the defense from there is fucked.
But he was doing that shit before. He was doing that shit. Patrick Graham
and your boy, the other PG was bad with that too.
Ugh.
Remember? Not as bad with it. He was a little better. So my solution to that is a simple one. If you're going to run that style, if you're going to run potentially that style of, or if Tyree Wilson has the issues that he has, and that's the best that you got to work with, he needs to be on the strong side. You want him to use those long arms to jam the tight end on every play, hit him, and have Max be free. Instead of having to pinch, he can just come crashing off the outside edge of the blind side. And if the quarterback can't see him coming, he's going to be a lot more leery of standing in the pocket and getting happy footed. Otherwise, Max is going to start racking up 15, 20 sacks. It'd be hard to say that they didn't improve, buddy. They only gave up 16 to a team coached by Sean Payton with a Super Bowl winning quarterback and a man who made 2 Super Bowl appearances.
Winning head coach, yeah.
And Denver is running a similar style of offense to what it was that made him a winner in Seattle. I'm trying to tell you, Dre. I gotta think.
Don't even get me started with that one.
Gotta think.
It's so many times where he should have had a sack.
Thank you. It's such a simple, easy solution that you could make like that, and you should see instant results within 4 plays, guaranteed. And they would do well, especially against Buffalo, to have him attack the weak side. Come from Josh Allen's blind side. Let big Tyree Wilson be in Josh Allen's face. Let Jordan Willis play the other side and get there and shut down that side. There's a lot here to work with, and it's week 1. We saw that the coaching staff is learning what they have versus what they thought they had. And we saw it real time, and so did they for the first time. And there it is right there, Charles. We earned that win. We're not giving it back. Doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. The most important thing that I could tell you that happened in that game was, for the first time since I think it was 1995 is what Josh put up. So the Raiders took the ball with 5 minutes and 40-something seconds to go in the game and never gave it back.
That's been a first for a long time. Another thing was, that's the first time we scored on our opening drive with 7 in a long time.
I think that was made.
Because we haven't done it. I think, what was it, 20? Damn, what has it been since 2012 or 2014? Yeah, it has been since 2012.
I'm pretty sure Derek has scored in his first possession a time or two since then. I'm not going to go down that route. But running out the clock for sure, was something that was beautiful to see. And how about the lack of AJ? You didn't see very much AJ Cole.
Nope.
Said and you know you're doing bad when your punter continues to make the Pro Bowl. Your punter should not be getting that type of exposure to the field. That means your offense is not doing its job. All in all, it was a great game. It was hard fought. It was definitely something that to be proud of, something to hang your hat on, and moving forward, something to be proud of moving forward. And know that the team is in good hands. They're a different type of team. They are definitely going to not make the same mistakes that you're used to seeing. Yes, Luke Masterson went out there and tried his best to give the game back to Denver with roughing the kicker penalty. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I don't know why Drake Thomas isn't on this team and Luke Masterson is, but once again, that's not my decision to make. Jones?
Look, I ain't got that much to say. I'm kind of focused on going into the next game. Raiders are going to have to put up points a little bit more than what they did this time. You can stop James Cook. I'll say that. But you give up you can't let them get that much on the dink and dunk. Offensively, going up against their defense, you can attack inside, but I think we're going to have to run a little bit of those off tackles. And if you're going to run with your tight ends, I hope you can attack these damn linebackers in that game.
Gonna need to. Going to need to start penalizing teams for wanting to blitz and stack the box. And that's going to you're going to need to put that on tape soon, because you only got to get another game or two before every team in the league says the way to beat them, put 11 guys inside 15 yards and don't move them. Big Corey is a national treasure. His videos are priceless. If you haven't treated yourself to a Raider breakdown featuring Big Corey and his skills on the mic with doing that uncensored Raider talk shit, the way he gets down, blunts rolling and all that shit, Jimmy Bitches, Black Team, all of it, you are missing out.
Yes, I don't know how anybody missing out on that shit.
Listen, I'm still I got people at work coming up to me showing me the Alabama video. Laugh at some of the funniest, some of the most unlikely people you'd ever think to see, and I was like, oh, for real? Oh, you watch? I know this dude. It's funny that you're over here. Like it's funny, but Corey is awesome, and Mike does great videos too.
That he does. That he does.
But
Phil, you got anything else to add in?
I was just getting ready to get to. I'm gonna be in the lab writing. You're gonna see. I should be getting something coming. Five positive outcomes going into week 2 for the Raiders. That should be coming out on the Raider Rambles in the next 2 days, whether it be tomorrow or the day after, one of the two. So look for that. We're looking to secure our weekly visit, so we will see if we are able to do so from Mr. Levi Edwards. And we will also be getting into the scouting report, what's going on moving forward. So we got the recap, the unfiltered recap of the week, and then we got the unfiltered forecast moving forward. What you got, Jones?
Should be a calm, easy week, but I'll be able to go back in. I'm gonna look at things for our next matchup with the Bills on Sunday. I'll be looking at the Bills and Jets game one more time, and I'm gonna go back and look at our game again on all 22 to see if we missed anything, something that might be
Post.
detrimental to the team going forward.
Post.
Yeah.
So, but with that, I'd like to hit y'all with this one more time before we get up out of here.
Ain't going back and forth with you niggas. I'm living my best life.
I'm Robinson. He's Jones. This is the Unfiltered Truth. God bless. We out of here.
This is one word, two syllables. Ridiculous, right?